We turn now to Trump's embattled Secretary of Defense nominee Pete Hegseth, who's on Capitol Hill today. Hegseth defending himself against the mounting allegations possibly hindering his nomination. Joining us now to discuss is the host of Greg Kelly Reports, Greg Kelly.
Hey, guys.
Hey, lucky us. Great to see you.
How are you? What can I do for you? I understand that my name has been thrown around quite a bit because I have taken a public position against Pete Hegseth. I think he is the wrong man for the Pentagon. I think he should not be the defense secretary. So at one point, I supported Pete Hegseth when the name came down. I did not think it was ideal by any means, but Pete Hegseth had done something that I kind of liked. He actually called for the ouster of General C.Q. Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who is a mutinous individual and deserves to be thrown out. Pete wouldn't have the power to do that, but that he said so publicly and seemed totally insensitive in a good way to identity politics. I thought, okay, I can get behind this. I'll overlook all the other stuff that I am aware of. And quite frankly, it wasn't all that intense, but it got a lot more intense last weekend. I've known Pete. I actually first met Pete, I think maybe in 2007, 2008, when I was on the Fox News channel. He would come and promote the Forever War. He would come as an Iraq War veteran and say what a great thing the Iraq War was and how we were there for all the right reasons. And yes, no weapons of mass destruction, but this war is going great. I disagreed with him. I disagreed with him strongly. I still disagree with him. But that's how Pete first made his name at Fox News, promoting the Iraq War. And I believe that he was doing it for political reasons, self-serving reasons. Pete, it was very apparent, and he talked about it, wanted to be a congressman, wanted to be a senator, wanted to be somebody important, okay? This is long before MAGA, long before any of that stuff. I told you, though, once the name came down, and I love President Trump, but he's not infallible. And from time to time, you know, personnel mistakes will be made. And I am allowed to say what I think about these mistakes. So then the New York Times story comes out. We all know that the fake news is the fake news, right? So I won't rely on the fake news. I'll rely on what his own attorney has said, that Pete Hegseth signed a non-disclosure agreement and paid money to a woman who accuses him of sexual assault. I was once accused of sexual assault, falsely. I would never in a billion years pay that person a dime. Pete Hegseth, that doesn't sound like a fighter. That sounds like somebody who's blackmailable. And I'm not comfortable with that individual being the Secretary of Defense. A couple of other quick things, if you don't mind. Look, I'm a person. I am flawed. I am no saint.
Right.
I have dealt with temptation. I have sinned. And yes, like Pete, and I believe, I hope he's on a journey to get himself closer to God. I am still tempted and all kinds of things. It can be challenging being a human being. The adultery matter is a real matter. Maybe not in the real world where laws against adultery are considered quaint and silly and kind of passé. In the military, it's different. In the military, you might go to sea for 6 months, 9 months, maybe go to the desert for a year. And a lot of folks in the military leave behind somebody who is dear to them, perhaps a wife.
Yeah. Greg, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
If you don't mind, I do have to finish this thought. And if that wife engages with another service member, it can have a real impact on the good order, morale, discipline of the military and make us less effective. That's a real thing, and it happens. It's happening now. It happens. It's human nature. It does happen. That must be against the law always in the military. Pete, it's well known, has violated that. I have had issues. We've all had issues. He should not be the Secretary of Defense with this record. What we will see are service members pointing to that individual. Look at all of the things that he has been through. I should not be held accountable for any of this stuff. And that is a major, major problem. Some of the reasons why I oppose Pete Hegseth, I've just shared with you.
Yeah. Greg, I did have to ask you, he spoke to Megyn Kelly about exactly what you referenced, the payoff of that woman, and he said that they were trying to smear him, that he thought he had no way around it, that they demanded it, and so
that doesn't sound like a fighter.
No, well, that's what my question to you was, it's one thing if you didn't do anything, well, then why would you agree to pay? But the second you brought up, you said that doesn't sound like a fighter. Why would you agree to blackmail?
And I keep hearing, well, he's a changed man. But if he was innocent, what does he have to change from? So there's a discrepancy here. And he said something, well, this is all about, I'm going to change things and I'm opposed to the forever wars. No, he's not. All right? I mean, I think he's addicted to power and prestige. Now, here's something else. Here at Newsmax, look, I'm hearing from some of my friends in MAGA, and they're disappointed in me, and they think I shouldn't be saying these things. But MAGA, I hope, is a big umbrella organization or loosely defined organization. We've been through a lot with President Trump, right? And we've been there through him, certainly on my show, Greg Kelly Reports. I was there when he came down the escalator on June 16, 2015. I knew he could win. I said it publicly. A lot has happened since. President Trump has been in trouble, right? Been there every step of the way. But here's something I'd like to know. If I were a senator on the confirmation panel, the Armed Services Committee, Pete Hegseth, you're a MAGA hero, I hear. Tell me about all the stories you did about January 6th. Mm-hmm. Tell me about all the stories or all the interviews you conducted with people held in prison right now who didn't break anything, who didn't hurt anybody, that are in prison. Have you profiled them? Have you done stories on them? How about Ashley Babbitt? Have you followed up on the Ashley Babbitt situation? By the way, what do you think of what happened to Tucker Carlson? Tucker Carlson masterfully illustrated that the Capitol Hill police may have been involved in the January 6th plot to tarnish MAGA. These are questions that are not pursued by Fox that I pursue on my show every day. I quite frankly feel that I don't have to prove my MAGA bona fides to anybody.
Think you do, Greg.
But if MAGA is you support this nominee or else, you know what? I don't think that sounds like MAGA. I think Make America Great Again is not like China, where everybody has to have the same point of view, get in line or else. No, that's not MAGA. There are real serious concerns. I think, let me just finish up with this. Pete does have talent. He does have something to offer. And I understand that people do change. His mother wrote that email 2 years after he already was considered for, I think, Secretary of Veterans Affairs.
First go around.
Change, it's a pretty compressed period of time for change, in my opinion. SecDef is a very important job. Someday, not today. That's how I feel.
All right.
Greg.
We appreciate that, Greg.
Thank
you. Thanks
My
for your
pleasure.
candor.
Yeah.
You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.